Srinivasan sir, who has got his M.B.A from Rice University. Usually people say, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Here, we have an eminent person who has a typical career advancement through his hard work and competency and ability and reached the heights and join our CEO Meet 2023 and going to be with us for an hour to share his journey, how he started, and how he moved forward and advanced. And that is going to be an inspiration and learning for all of you, the students of Adithya School of Business Management. I would like to warmly welcome Srini sir for this occasion, accepting our invitation and gracing this auspicious C-suite meeting as 21st C-suite meeting in this year we are hosting, and you are into that meeting, sir. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of our chairman, Engineer C. Sukumaran, sir, and our managing trustee, we are expecting them to join in shortly, and they have conveyed their gratitude and greetings to you, sir. And I would like to once again welcome you, and you can start with a simple note on your background and how you started. After that, we can go with our question answer session.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thanks for Adithya School of Business to having me here. And I hope I can share some useful insights about how do you build a successful career through whatever journey I have gone through. And also probably take a lot of questions from you all. So I'll make it very quick. I mean, maybe a 15 minutes, background, and then I would leave it for question answer. So, so there's a lot of time for questions. So, hence I would like to make it more interactive rather than just me talking. So get ready with all your questions. It's not easy asking tough questions, but, it's important for you to also know what questions to ask to, leadership when they come on, when you have an opportunity, because it makes a big impression. So I will first give you, just a background of the company that I work for, because I'm sure you know Honeywell, but maybe this video can give a little bit more insights about Honeywell. Can you hear?
Plans for takeoff.
Yes,
before we even land.
I'm helping make jet fuel from mustard seeds.
I'm making aerosols 99.9% safer for the planet.
I'm working on precision airflow control systems that ensure reliable room pressurization and directional airflow, controlling airborne pathogens and providing better infection control.
I'm helping protect critical infrastructure from cyber attacks.
I'm turning warehouses into symphonies.
I made pilots see mountains through the fog.
Estoy produciendo equipo de protección que mantiene héroes a salvo.
I'm making it possible to breathe on Mars and making brains for ears.
I'm making concert halls perform. I'm working on flying taxis.
I'm making a digital twin of this analog factory.
Seriously, flying taxis.
At Honeywell,
At Honeywell,
we make a lot of incredible things.
But mostly,
We make the future.
Okay, so the one thing in Honeywell we are very proud is we believe that we make
thinking
the
about going
future.
solar, but not sure whether it's worth it for your home. Well,
So
before you get close,
we really believe that we build the future, and that's what we're all known for. We have 4 businesses. So as you saw in the video, we have the aerospace business. So anything with respect to cockpit controls, in general, the APUs, the auxiliary power units, most of the airport automation is what we do in that particular business. Then we have what we call as the buildings automation control. So that's for, schools, hospitals, huge buildings, commercial buildings. So we take care of security, we take care of the fire aspects, and also the HVAC, right, for being comfortable. The third one is the safety business, where we have the warehouse automation. So it's a lot of logistics automation. And finally, we have the business that I come from, which is the industrial automation. So refineries, petrochemicals, power plants, oil and gas, pharmaceutical plants, metals, cements, sugar. So all these industry we automate, right? And that's the industry I come from. So we are a $36 billion company, and the business that I belong to is called Honeywell Process Solutions. So we come from the process industry. So as I said, we automate refineries, petrochemicals, power plants, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's the industry that I come from. There is a business called, process measurement and control. So to control anything, you need to measure, right? If you can't measure, then you can't control. So we develop sensors, we develop technology products that can measure pressure, temperature, flow, level, anything, right? That we really need to understand and then start controlling. So we also manufacture the control products, and we call it control systems, distribution control systems, PLC systems, etc. And that's the business. So this is the business I come from, the process measurement and control. So we manufacture, as I said, a lot of field instruments. So this measures pressure, level, temperature for both liquids and gas. And then we have the control system here. This is a global business. I have about 11 factories which manufacture these businesses. In India, the factory is in Pune. Of course, I have factories in China, Germany, France, UK, Netherlands, US, Mexico, and UK. So that's the business I come from. So it took me quite a while to come and lead this business for Honeywell. You have to build huge capabilities, right, to become a leader in this space and lead, more than 2,000 people across the globe. Not only in terms of understanding the business itself, the economy situation in each country, how do you drive, the profitability of the business, but more importantly, it is to manage the people. So people are the assets, and once you take care of people, they say that people take care of customers, and hence business will always be good. So I think it's more to do with people. How do you connect with people? How do you motivate them? How do you ensure that they all aligned to the vision that you define and share? So that's going to be the most important thing. In fact, they say that leadership is all about influencing people or influencing your team to get maximum results out of them towards a common goal. So, you define the common goal, you define the common vision. They have to buy in it, and then you try to motivate them to give their maximum. So that's what leadership is basically all about. So it's not about these products. Of course, you need to be very technical. We need to understand the products. We need to know the value that the products will deliver. But you will fail if you don't know how to lead people. That's for sure. That's it. So basically, giving that background, I would like to basically talk about my journey. I came from a very, moderate family. So, I didn't have parents when I was in school. I lost my parents, and my grandparents spent a lot. I need to be on my own. Actually, I started working at the age of 11 itself. I went to worked in restaurants. as soon as I got into my engineering college, I got on quickly to understand pretty, a career, the start of my life, which was a little bit tough, and that probably helped me in, in setting clear goals for me. And once I joined Honeywell, actually even before I joined Honeywell, I always wanted to do a master's, but the situation was not that good, right? I had to get a job, so I joined Honeywell as soon as I got out of college, and then the journey started, right? But it was always in the back of my mind that I need to give you a brief on how I gained it. Experience always teaches you a lot of things. I think it's very important for us to believe in it. The one thing that you all must do as part of this course that you're in MBA in Adithya school is take it very seriously, right? I mean, everything that you learn will always be useful in your career. There's nothing that the college will teach or the university will teach that is not going to be useful in your career. Now, if you don't do it well, if you take it lightly, if you try to, skip things or not go and clarify in your initial jobs, you won't use things from day one, and that's fine. You don't have to use everything that you learn. But the way to make it cemented in your brain and and really become an expert is actually share it with people. So if you can actually do some work of trying to coach the other students, right, or coach someone else on some of the things that you have learned, what will happen is it will be retained, and at the right time in your career it will be very, very useful. That's one of my learnings, coming out of college and then moving into the Honeywell journey or my career. I understood that I should have done that, right? Because I learned a lot of stuff in my college, but I didn't retain it, or I was caught in the caught a little bit wanting in certain circumstances in my career. So I have to go back, refer, learn again, and then come back. So it'll be good, for you all to share whatever you learn. Keep sharing so that you can really, keep up to speed on whatever you learned. Anyway, that's something which is important. That's your current life. So please take it seriously, and do spend a good time in your college. And please ask any doubts that you have. Don't let any time go waste. Now, coming to my journey, I started my career in Chennai, and I spent about 7-8 years in Chennai. I grew from an engineer to a sales manager in Chennai. So, during that phase is when I realized the most important thing, and that is to be decisive. So because in these roles you need to take clear decision, right? I mean, when you are sitting in front of your management, when you're sitting in front of customers, you need to understand that clarity of thoughts and your decisive power will be tested, right? So and also it is very important to show empathy, right? I mean, empathy is very, very critical when we talk about that. So, and when I reflect upon now, right, I think some of the tough decisions I had to make during those times, within a fixed amount of you have a fixed time, so you don't have unlimited time to take your decision, right? You have a fixed time to take a decision, and you have to assess the information and then quickly decide, and you have to be confident enough. And it's fine. I mean, 80% of the time you'll be right, 20% of the time you'll be wrong, and that's what you have to understand. And if you're right, do the analysis why you were right, ensure that you capture that as well. And if you're wrong, do the analysis on why you were wrong, right? Both are important. And always keep the company in the forefront, right? The people, the company in the forefront that you work for. That'll, when you take your decision, as long as you're making that, keeping that in the forefront, even if you make a mistake, it's fine, right? People will understand it. But if it is a selfish decision, if it is for yourself, not benefiting the company, then you have a problem. Even if you succeed, you're going to have a problem. So even if that decision was successful, people will not, like the intent behind, your decision. So 3 important things. One is analyze it well. Second is take your decision with the limited time that you have. And third is always do it for your company, right? Keep the company and the people in mind when you take those decisions. Now, when I moved from Chennai to Pune, Pune was our headquarters, so I went as the leader of All India, right, Honeywell, for sales. At that time, some of the toughest I have faced some of the toughest environment to succeed in, and the one thing that I learned is you will be hit many a times, right? It could be in your your personal life is not working out rightly, or it could be something to do with your customers. It could be internally managing people. But as you fall, it's very important to stand up again very strong. And that's why resilience is something that, you will have to learn as early as possible. I mean, I learned it a bit late, the importance of resilience. But I would say that if you all can, understand the importance of grit and resilience now, and, practice it and, ensure that it's part of your ecosystem, then it'll really help you out. But I learned it I would say in the 90s, late 90s is when I understood the importance of resilience. You will get hammered, by life. It will come strong. You will be shot down. It will hit you hard, but you have to know how to stand up and, and fire and come out very successful. And that's going to be a very important trait, even as a CEO. So I would say that, challenging situations will always happen. So that was the important thing, from resilience standpoint. You have to bounce back from these setbacks, and that's that's critical, because your team will be expecting that, right? Your team, the people that you lead, will like to see a leader that is that stands up during tough times and bounces back very strongly. So keep always that in mind on the resilience. Again, to get the skill, you don't have to really wait until you experience something. Start building, start learning about grit and resilience very soon. The other important thing I've learned through my career during that time is about strong communication, right? And I can realize now, in this current position that I am in, right, that you need to be a very effective communicator. When you say strong communication, it's more to do with effective communication. Just imagine that the people that you're leading. So I have more than hundreds of people in China. I have hundreds of people in in the Middle East, in the US, in Latin America, in Spain, in different languages they speak. Their understanding is, their education backgrounds are very different, and cultures are very different. And if whatever vision you have set, if you are not able to communicate to the global team in a very effective way, how will you succeed, right? So you will need to learn that art of having to build to come across as a very effective communicator. So that's going to be very critical for you to do that. Now, to become a effective communicator, it's not only about you talking or writing, right? I think the most important thing is about listening, and that too, what we call as active listening, right? So you will need to learn the art of active listening. There's a lot of time when you would itself realize in your life, when people are talking, you already have started, framing up your, your reply, or you have already started concluding things in your mind. That's bad, right? You will have to wait. You'll have to wait for the other person to finish, You'll have to hear the entire part of what the other person has to say, and then you have to start forming your responses. So so active listening is is very, very critical. Otherwise your I would say effectiveness of communication is going to be poor. People want to understand you. If you're not going to listen to, you have no chance to succeed in the way you can convince people. So that was something that I really learned, because I had to take care of the entire India operations, and it was culturally very different. Each state was different. Each even the customer base were different. So I think I learned that how important is effective communication there. Then I moved to the Middle East and UK, and obviously working with I would say working with different nationalities are also very challenging. You have to understand their culture. So again, the communication aspects comes into picture a lot. You will have, you'll have to deal with people in Netherlands, Germany, very different culture to the Middle East. And there's always a style to work with them, right? I mean, you have to know how to be flexible. So there's a lot of learning that you will go through, and that will really improve your communication skills. But the one thing that I learned while dealing with mega projects, so when I say mega projects, I'm talking about, going after something like 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores type of opportunities. Now, these are big, and you have to have vision. Right? I mean, you have to be visionary, because you don't win these projects alone. You have to lead a task force, right? You have to really lead a task force, and you have to set the vision, you have to set the strategy, and people need to believe in it. So that's what I really learned during those phases. And I think more than the one thing that I learned is, beyond just setting the strategy and vision, the execution is very, very critical. Sometimes we are all good at setting strategies and setting vision, but we are very poor in execution of that. And if you don't execute it well, you will fail, right? So, I think don't underestimate the effort that you need to put in execution. It's probably much tougher to execute the strategy that you have set than actually setting the strategy itself, right? So please do focus on execution of your strategy as you become wiser in those areas. So visionary, I don't think any leader any CEO can be successful if he's not visionary. So let's be very clear. So this is one of the most critical, I would say, trait you should have, is to be a visionary leader, right? Because you can only inspire your team when you have a clear vision, right? Otherwise, people just won't look up to you, and the company will suffer. So this is very critical, and only experience will teach you to be more visionary, and how to look at it 360 degrees, and more importantly on the execution side. Then I moved to the US from UK, took on global roles, in marketing, and then became more general management of the whole of Americas. So Americas means US, Canada, and the whole Latin America. And there, what I understand, is about collaborativeness. So you can imagine how important collaborative, being collaborative is, because you have peers, you have your boss, you have so much of executives, you have the whole team. Now, how do you build strong relationship, not only with your team, but every stakeholders and every partners is going to be very critical for you to succeed in. So, importance of collaboration is huge from a successful CEO standpoint. The reason is because, unless you build trust and foster a culture of teamwork and innovation, right? People are not going to buy in you. And the most important thing in that is inclusion and diversity. So if you're not inclusive, if you're not embracing diversity, you will not be able to create a very collaborative environment. So ultimately, if there's a lot of teaching in school happening about the importance of inclusion and diversity, please take it seriously. For many of us, it comes natural, right? You can imagine I, lived in India, Singapore, Middle East, UK, US. So for me, it comes natural, right? I mean, I have to work with different cultures as I move into the space. But for some people, it doesn't come natural, right? You'll have to, you'll have to adapt to it. But please try to, get the value of diversity and inclusivity in building a successful team, successful company into your head. This is crucial, right? It's gender, it's race, it's every aspect of inclusion and diversity you'll have to practice. So that's what is going to build capabilities, because innovation is all about inclusive and diversity. You need to, the more inclusive you are, the more diverse you are, the more innovative you are. So collaboration and building capabilities as a CEO, it's a critical trait of a CEO. So these are some of the things that I learned as I went through the journey. So and again, different CEOs will have different perspective of what are the critical traits. This is mine, right? So you have to be decisive, and for that, understand the importance of empathy. You need to be resilient and grit. You need to stand up, right, when you fall. You need to learn how to be an effective communicator. While you are visionary and strategist, ensure that you are a good executioner of that as well, because execution is critical. And then be collaborative, build capabilities, especially around being inclusive and diverse. So these are the traits that I believe are very important for you to succeed as a CEO. That's my input. One critical area that you have to learn throughout your life is to be very, be self-aware. You have to know your strengths and weakness. You have to know the development areas. And the only way you're going to do that is actually get a 360-degree feedback, right? And don't be hesitant. It doesn't matter. Don't be vulnerable. I mean, we are what we are. We are unique. Each one of you, each one of us are very unique, right? We have our own strengths, which others don't have. We have our own weakness, which we know we are going to, learn and cover up. And so be confident about what you are and be proud of what you are. And hence know your strengths and development areas. Like, these are my strengths and development areas. So I know that I'm, the feedback from people that are in my team, that are my bosses, they all tell me, what my strengths are. So I take down, and then they also, let me know what my development areas are, and do it every 1 year, right? Even in college, as you are, try to understand what your weaknesses and strengths are, and play to your strengths. They always say that, to be successful, you have to play to your strengths, but don't, ignore your weaknesses or development areas. Keep building, skills and capabilities to cover, to ensure that you are, improving your development areas as well. So again, be self-aware, very critical. I mean, there's, be proud of yourself. Everybody is unique. Everybody will come out successful in your own lives. And, but the important thing is, to play to your strengths and keep working on your development areas. So to conclude, I would say continuous learning. So, if you think that after finishing MBA, you don't have to study further, you're absolutely wrong. Once you get into industry, if you join in my team, you're going to read every day. I can tell you that. You're going to, research every day. You're going to, do new things every day. And for that, you need to keep learning. So learning doesn't stop. So if anybody has a perception that, I have another, 2 months to go, and after that, thank God, forget it. It just starts. Your story has just started off learning. And then, have the right combination of skills and traits. And, again, as I said, different CEOs will have different perspective. But choose understand your skills, understand the strengths, weaknesses, and also, what will make you successful, and build upon that. So thanks. I mean, I hope this was useful, just to give a background of what is the company that I work for, how my journey was throughout, throughout this 28, now 29 years after graduation, right? It's been quite some while. Yeah, I'll open up for questions or any comments.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this. This is the first time I'm seeing a chart where the journey, the real meaning of the topic, or the what we have kept it for this program, the journey towards CEO. And I've seen that you have started with 1 million, where sales manager in South India, then slowly getting into the highest position today. This is what the students really have to learn and get it from. And in nutshell, in 20 minutes, you have brought in the enough source for them to take it forward and practice in life. I wanted to humbly share that, and thank you, sir, for this sharing.
No problem. Yeah.
Now let's go with some questions where what's not addressed so far. Students.
You can ask me any questions.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hello, sir.
If you can just
Sir, as you
Tell
said,
your name. Yeah, tell your name
tell
and
your name. Just introduce
Hello,
yourself.
sir.
Kavya. Okay, you're a Kavya. Okay.
I'm
Go
Kavya,
ahead.
sir. Hello, sir.
Hi. Go ahead.
Sir, as you said earlier, decisional thinking is an important trait for a CEO. And you also said that 80% may go wrong. The decisions you make, 80% may go right, and 20% may go wrong. So have you ever been in that place, like in that 20%, and how did you counter it?
So again, if anybody says that they have not failed, I can tell you that they are lying. Okay, especially in a long career, you will fail. And I think the most important thing is that 80-20, right? 80% successful and 20% failure. I have failed many times. So, for example, in 2010, when I just moved to the UK, the business that I managed didn't do well. I just couldn't adjust to the environment there. I went from the Middle East. So India, Middle East, Singapore has a different culture, right? We are very different. Whereas, when you go to the UK, it's a very different culture. And I learned my lessons there. I mean, most important thing is, again, you have to have a mentor. You have to have somebody whom you trust, that you can, openly talk about. And you should not be ashamed of saying that you failed. You should reach out to that mentor. You should, talk through the facts on what exactly happened, and then analyze it, right? What is the reason you failed? So I failed, in the business that I was driving. It took me about 6 months to, pivot my strategies, pivot my, positioning of the solutions, and, how to approach. And, within, I would say, in another year, I came out successful. But it was a very, very tough period for me. And the one thing that I learned from, that particular, experience is, you could, I talked about that. You could have a great strategy for being successful, but if you don't execute it well, you're not going to have, you're not going to be successful. And for execution, the most important thing is a strong team. You cannot do it on your own. So, you should be having the art of choosing your people, right? How is your team's composition going to be? If your strengths are X, Y, and Z, then you need to build a team which covers up for your weaknesses. So if your weakness is A, B, and C, you need to build a team so that your A plus B plus C plus X, Y plus Z is full, right? That's the biggest learning that I had during that failure, is that, you are as good as how well you build your team. Otherwise, the execution part of your strategy is going to be very weak. So, but learn from your mistakes. If anybody on this in this particular call is going to think that you're not going to fail, sorry, life is not that easy. You will fail, but it's all part of the job. you will fail. The most important thing is to learn from it. But have a mentor. Always have a mentor whom you trust and you can talk to. I would say that's very critical as well. Good question.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Hi.
So myself, Hari Vikram.
Can you be a little louder if you don't mind?
So myself, Hari Vikram, sir.
Hi, Hari.
Sir, as you told, different CEOs have different approaches. What is your strategic planning force about it? You have any different approaches?
Well, various companies have different ways of doing strategic planning. So every company does have strategic planning. Remember that. I mean, as a CEO, you should know how your business will look like in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, and probably in 10 years' time. And that's what we do. So if I'm saying 3, 5, and 10, that's the stuff that we do. And we do it every year. So this is not, we don't do it once and then forget it for the next 10 years. We don't do that. We just define our strategy for the next 3 years, next 5 years, and next 10 years. And as things change in the marketplace, as we succeed or fail, wherever we do, whatever we do, we rebuild our strategy or we relook at our strategy. So that's the timeline. Now, there are two important things. One is being, I don't know if you attended the last session that I took. We talked about something called a strategic innovation, right? So there is a difference between innovation and strategic innovation. So I think you need to bring in the angle of strategic innovation always in your long-term plan. So it's not that. So there are two ways to grow, right? One is to keep gaining share in the market, right? So you have a market, you have a particular share, let's say 10%. Next year you go to 12%, right? So you gain more share in the market, but that's not enough, right? That's just not enough because the market that you serve is limited, right? Now, how do you make it wider? How do you ensure that you now pivot from the market, which is so small, to a much bigger market? And that's by bringing new products, by innovating new products. But maybe in that bigger market, there's already strong players, right? Existing players. Now, how do you beat them? Right? And that's what strategic innovation is all about. So you need to have in your strategic planning 3 aspects. One is where you're good at and how will you increase your share. That's the first aspect. So you're already doing great. You already have a plan. Now you have to do more of it and gain more share from the market. That's one. The second is expand, right? So innovate and expand. Into new segments so that you can grow into new segments. That's the second aspect of it. The third is about strategic innovation that I talked about. So, maybe in the areas that you want to go to, there's already an incumbent player. There's already a player that's, dominant in that player. Now, how do you beat them? And that's what strategic innovation is. And as a leader, you need to have all these 3 pillars. Of course, the 4th pillar is what we call as merger and acquisition. So it's not necessary that you have to be successful only doing organic growth or doing innovation, but you can also look at mergers and acquisitions and grow. But there's a lot of risk towards that, so you need special skills to do that. You need a lot of money to do that. So it's actually the most expensive way to grow, that is doing M&A, merger and acquisition, but that's also part of strategic planning. Now, yeah, I mean, that's how I look at it, right? So for me, these are the pillars of strategic planning, and I think looking at it every year very seriously. We spend 6 months on strategic planning. We start our strategic planning somewhere in Feb and close it in June, sorry. So in June. And we do it every year So actually, nowadays we are doing our strategic planning for next 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. So we do this every year. So as CEOs, I would say more than 10-15% of his time goes in strategic planning. It's a very, very crucial part of the job.
Because the industry is dynamic, we have to be building the pace for that, isn't it? sir?
Absolutely. Industry just keeps changing. I mean, I'm sure you're all using ChatGPT, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so
Started, sir, yes.
yeah, you can imagine the problems now your professors have in trying to avoid it, right? So they have to also know how to stop it, right? So they have to, they might have a plan. Oh, this is how we are going to teach our students. This is how we are going to do that. ChatGPT has come. Now what? They have to pivot, right? They also have to come out with a different plan of ensuring, that this doesn't happen, because your learning stops, right? If you start doing that. So things change in the industry and you have to keep a watch on it. That's why strategic planning is not a one-time thing and then you forget for 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, whatever the case may be. It's every year you have to do it, at least as a minimum. Yeah.
Next.
Greetings, sir.
Hi.
My name is Deepak.
Hi, Deepak.
So from your journey, what are the financial initiatives you introduce and how it make successful?
Sorry, what was that, Deepak?
So from your journey, what are the financial initiatives you introduce and how it makes successful?
Financial initiatives, huh? Is that
Yes,
what you
sir.
want to ask?
Yes, sir.
Financial initiatives with respect to what? With respect to people? What financial I don't know, Sundar, is there a context to that? Financial initiatives means what?
Financial initiatives towards team building and kind of how you move towards strategic motivation. So,
yeah, so incentives are a very crucial part of part of motivation. There's no question. Let's be very clear. And incentives can be in multiple areas, and you have to create all areas. So, for example, you talked about financial incentives, right? So, I need more money. My family should be more happier. So, I need more incentives if I am successful. What does the company do for me? That's one question. But another person may not really think financial incentives is the most important thing, right? For the other person, it's about career growth, right? It's about getting promoted, right? And so that's also an incentive. Maybe he's not worried about money. He's fine. I mean, if he does, if he, like, for example, when I moved from the Middle East to the UK, actually I got a promotion, but actually my earning went down, because the salaries in different countries are different, right? I mean, so but we will always go to the UK if we are being promoted. My incentive was that I'm being promoted. I'm taking a different role and managing different businesses, and that's what my incentive was. So financial incentives are critical, there's no doubt, but I think there are other incentives as well. Like I talked about the career incentive. There's also certain areas of social incentive. For example, right? I mean, there are many capable people in India, for example, who wants to come and work outside India, right? Why? Because of social pressure, right? Because my neighbor's son is working in the UK, or that relative of mine is working in the Middle East. So I've been also, or my wife's brother is working in Australia or something. There's social pressure, and that's also important for you to understand, because that person who's going through the social pressure is an important employee for you, right? If you lose him, then you have a problem. Now you need to substitute all the experience that he has gained in your company is lost, right? Now you'll have to hire somebody and train, and it's a huge cost. So again, incentives are critical. There are multiple ways of doing, incentivizing people, and you need to know that everything is important. In fact, nowadays, it is more than 60% of people leave not because of money, but because of career aspirations. So remember that, but yes, financial incentives are critical. And the way we do it is, of course, you must have surely read, as you move up the ladder, as you become vice presidents, presidents, CEOs, most of your incentive are through stock, right? So typically your salary is about 10 to 15% of your net pay, and then rest is all given in stock. Why? Because you are helping the company grow, and as your stock price goes, you should earn the money. That's what the whole whole linkage is. But to the middle managers and all, we incentivize based on performance, right? Again, last time, I hope you have gone through what I shared last time. In performance, there are two types of performance, and these are absolute money we give. So based on your performance, we give you money, right? So you get 20% more, you get 30% more, depending on what you have performed. But performance is evaluated on two axes. One is on the performance of your goals with respect to the targets that you had. So you had to do this project within 8 months within the budget. You had to bring $2 million of orders, right, etc., etc. So that was fixed targets that you had. The second axis is actually on your behaviors, right? So please go through again the earlier communication that I had. So how were you behaving as you worked throughout the year to achieve your targets? For example, was your behavior did you share and learn, for example, right? Did you come across as a role model for your people, right? Did you show good behaviors with respect to courage, right, etc.? So there are behaviors that are also very important for, like, for example, you can be successful, you can bring in excellent orders, or be a great marketing guy, but then you would have spoiled the environment by harassing people, by not allowing others to succeed. We don't want such people, to be very frank, right? It's fine, you're a great person, but since you're now you're killing the productivity of 5-6 people, I would rather not have you in the company. I would have somebody else in the company. So financial incentives are given, of course, which is typically on your base. It is based on your absolute targets and also on your behavior. So yeah, I mean, but again, remember one thing, that as you become managers, you will realize that financial incentives are not necessarily the number one reason why people work. It's basically for having a great career. Remember one thing always in life: as you grow up in career, money will come. Money is going nowhere. Okay, so don't go after money, right? Build capabilities, build skill sets, and ensure that you do justice for your job, and you do justice for your team, and you will keep growing. And as you grow, money will come. It's not going anywhere, right? A manager will earn more than an engineer. A senior manager will earn more than a manager, right? A president will earn more than a vice president. It's natural. You don't have to worry about it, right? You just need to know what are the skills required for me to become a manager, become a general manager, become a director, become a vice president. That's what you need to build upon, rather than think about money. Don't think about money, sorry, because money is going nowhere. Money will be there. The role that you are in, you will get your money.
Yeah. Build and chase your career, then rest will follow, including money, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Money is going nowhere. Yeah.
Build your career, that's important, Kanna. First foremost. Maslow's need hierarchy says incentives, basic.
Yeah.
There are different needs, different people will have. We have to act accordingly, the incentives, whatever it is. So it cannot be a standard rule. Everybody will have to follow one rule. We can't do that, basically. Yeah. Next question, please.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Hi, Ganpati.
It's myself, Ganapati, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, myself, Ganapati. Can you hear me, sir?
Hi, Ganpati. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Sir, you have started your career from sales, and now you are a CEO. So in this journey, what has been the biggest failure that you have faced, and what you have learned from it, sir?
I think I talked about one of the failures, of moving from the Middle East to the UK, and then not understanding the culture, not understanding the importance of, you know, you can't win it all. You'll have to build a strong team, right? You know, so you are as good as the team that you have, right? So that's a big learning. I think you know, in one, I would say in the second, I would also say that you know, don't forget the importance of family. Okay, so you know, if your family is not ready for the next big change that you want to take, always be, you know, then you will fail. So this, you know, in our world, they say that you should take the next responsibility only when you're ready, right? And, you know, when we say when we are ready, of course, the company thinks we are ready, right? So that's why they'll call you and say, hey, I have, you know, we have decided, we have looked at your, and I would like to make you the, you know, general manager of this region, or, you know, director of that business. But we don't know what they go through internally within the family, psychologically, et cetera, right? So, these, as you grow your, you know, there's going to be stress. I can tell you that. There's going to be more time that you will spend thinking about your job than about your family, right? So get prepared, get ready for it, because if there is no peace at home, you have no chance to succeed. I can tell you that. Either you will fail at home or you will fail at, you know, at your career. I would rather fail at career rather than failing at home, right? But so that's why the important thing is always assess 360 degrees whether you're ready. Always assess that. You know, only when you're ready completely pick up the next job, pick up the next role, or, you know, play to your strengths, I always say. But more importantly, I think you have to ensure that the ecosystem that you're carrying around you, right? Your family, your friends, your skill sets, you know, there are so many other things that, you know, will hit you, and, you know, and get ready for that. And yeah. So the reason I'm telling you that is, you know, as my children grew, obviously, you know, you can imagine the number of cities and countries that I changed. My son, who is a graduate in mechanical engineering from the UK, actually studied in 6 schools, right? And people will say, oh, great. I mean, it's a great experience, very adaptive. He will be, that's fine. But, you know, changing from, you know, Chennai to Pune to Singapore to Middle East to UK, it was tough for him. Different curriculums, you know, it goes through it, you know, they go through some tough situations. So there's always, you know, things to learn from there. And ensure that, again, as I said, you know, you go through the entire ecosystem. Don't forget your family before you take your decision.
Yeah, that means I think rational thoughts, you have to bring it in. Don't be emotional like the youngsters. Some of the youngsters, sir, my parents don't allow me to go to North India and work. That's not the thing what Srini sir is talking here. He's talking about the rational decision, what you have to make about your career, whether the family can accept the change you are going to bring. That's so important. Yeah, not for your emotion that you have to be careful about. Next question, please. Can we make it fast? We are running out of time. I think Sir has only a few minutes left. Mohideen, Sabas,
Mohammed is speaking, but he's on mute.
Unmute and speak.
So, greetings, sir.
Hi.
Sir, myself is Mohammed. What is the key performance indicator do you use to measure business success, sir?
So I would say I have 6 key performance. So obviously the financials. So, you know, the revenue growth, the margins, and you know, but remember that you know, cash is king. So when we come to financial goals, right? I'm not saying that revenue and, you know, margins and are not important, but I would say the most important thing, how strong you run your business is dependent on how much cash you generate. Okay, so keep that in mind. Then there is an aspect of people leadership. So we have something called as people leadership index, right? So how happy your team, how happy your people are working with you, right? So that is one of the points that we generate. So it is about attrition. It is about the voice and employee score. It is about how you are able to promote your team every year or every 2 years. It's about people leadership, right? Well, so that is a fourth, I would say, one of the that's one fourth. The fifth is sales behavior index, right? So similarly, how aggressive you are in the market, how you are able to ensure that your salespeople get incentives. So if my salespeople all get incentive, that means what? That means everybody is doing well, right? They are also earning money. I'm also getting the business. So that is the fifth. And finally, it is what we call as NPI, new product introductions. It's one of the most important goals. So by the way, PLI has also inclusion and diversity. So how diverse my team is, right? So that's also part of the PLI, the people leader index. But coming back to the NPI, the last one, generating innovation and going after and getting new businesses are a very critical goal for us. So we are being evaluated on these 6. Again, revenue, margins, but cash, right? The third important thing is a huge heavy weighter. Fourth is PLI, people leader index. Fifth is SBI, sales behavior index. And sixth is what I call NPI. So the new product introductions. So these are some of the most critical KPIs that we are evaluated on.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Next question.
Sir, hello, sir.
Hi.
So what tools and techniques would you use to approach problem solving, sir?
Again, so problem solving, happens in different areas, right? For example, quality of your product could go wrong, correct? So there is a Six Sigma mechanism to drive, those processes, those manufacturing processes, to ensure that you fix those quality issues. Similarly, your supply chain issues could go wrong, right? Which means you're not able to deliver your customers the products on time. So how do you fix that? And there are tools, what we call as SIOP. I'm sure you will go through it in your M.B.A course sometime. SIOP, which is very critical for us to understand what the demand is, right? So what are the products that you need to deliver? So we'll get a little bit like 6 months, 1 year forecast about it, and then you build upon your plan so that you can deliver on time. Then you have problems that you could come across in your business areas, right? So in your financials, in your and then you have iterative tools to manage that. So again, each and every function have their own tools, and nowadays most of these tools are well automated, and you should always in your job always depend on automated tools. Don't get into manual work, right? I mean, if you're trying to do a lot of manual work, there will be data concerns, there will be errors, and it could lead you to some wrong conclusion. So always ensure that you pick up the information from the same database, and these are all automated tools. So different problems have different tools that an industry are required to solve. But I think some of the most important thing you need to know is customer satisfaction, right? If customers are happy, your business will be happy. The only way you will keep your customers happy is, in meeting their what they call as perceived value. So they perceive a value of your company, right? You need to meet that requirement of perceived value. Once you meet the perceived value requirements, customer will be happy. So any tools that helps drive, there are a lot of tools regarding that, like CSAT score and NPS score and things like that. So there are multiple tools that we use in our business to drive the customer satisfaction index as well.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Next.
Yeah.
sir, this is Nashta.
Hi.
Sir, priorities may vary from person to person. So what is your top priority, sir?
I couldn't hear you well.
Sir, are you hearing, sir?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Speak louder.
Sir, priority may vary from person to person, sir. So what is your top priority, sir?
Oh, priorities, top priorities. You're saying,
Yes.
what is
Yes, sir.
okay? So there are two. The way you have to look at priorities are in two aspects. One is running your day-to-day business, right? So you have to give, like for example, as you know, we run our business quarterly, right? So quarterly results are produced. We have to share it with the investors, to stock exchanges. We'll have to, bring it out in public. So we have a goal. We have, our targets to meet, and then we set our priorities to ensure that that's the short-term priorities that I call it, right? You need to ensure that you have, these are my 5 things that I have to do so that I get my quarter on track. But that's the short term. But the other part is on the long term. So as a CEO, as a business leader, you also should look at the importance of, how do you succeed in 1 year's time, right? So because some of the actions that are required to be successful in 1 year's time, you need to take it today. Maybe in the next 6 months, you'll have to complete that. So those are the long-term priorities that you have to set. Now, as a CEO, you must have the ability to manage both short-term priorities and long-term priorities. Otherwise, you have a problem. You cannot just focus on short-term, because, okay, fine, short-term priorities, you'll fix the problem for this quarter, but what will happen after 2 quarters down the line? If you're not taking the right action now, you're not going to have a strong quarter after 6 months. So always remember that priorities are always set short-term and long-term. So I always have my short-term priorities and my long-term priorities, and every CEO has, and every leader has. I think there's a book called Winning Now, Winning Later. Please go through, read that book, Winning Now, Winning Later. And that book really talks about the importance of CEOs having attention to both short-term and long-term, priorities. It's a good book, Winning Now, Winning Later.
Thanks for the title, sir. We'll get few copies for our library. Yes.
Yeah.
I think time's up.
Okay,
Any
so,
last
I
question,
would,
or
yeah.
we'll finish it, sir? What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I think we can finish it. I mean, but one important thing again, as I would leave is the industry is moving towards 2 or 3 clear I would say focus areas. One is on digitalization, right? So data, what do we do with that data? How do we create bring about that data, manage it, analyze it? So digitalization is driving a huge disruption in the industry. So that's one area that you all need to focus on, irrespective of whether you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a marketer, or you're going to be an engineer. Doesn't matter, right? I mean, after your MBA, you can get into finance, you can get into HR, it doesn't really matter on which field you're going to be, but digitalization is going to be a very clear, disruptive aspect that's coming along. The second is on sustainability, right? So, everybody is taking clear direction on ensuring that we are net zero, carbon neutral, ensure that we control our temperature, to 1.5 degrees until 2050, etc., etc. So, a lot of focus on energy transition to do away with fossil fuel, move towards more greener energy, etc., etc. So that the sustainability side is going to be a big deal in years to come. So, I would say these are the two clear areas that we have to focus on. Now, the third one is about the behavior of us. Remember, as you become leaders, right, I talked about the importance of inclusivity and diversity. Please embrace that in your life. Okay, take it very seriously in your life. I mean, understand all the aspects of inclusion, diversion. So the diversity, it's not only just trying to talk about women in engineering, or there's a lot of things that matter on inclusive and diversity. You'll have to embrace it. It'll have to be in your core value, in your as from a behavior standpoint. I say that, so in business we call about integrity and safety, right? So earlier we all used to talk about integrity and safety. You should ensure that you do the right things, don't fall into any corruption issues. This is, so integrity is there, and then safe, always keep your employees safe, etc., etc. Nowadays, integrity and safety is like given. If you don't have this, don't be in my company. You shouldn't even join any company, right? You should be straight. Integrity and safety is part of your blood. That's it. That's how we look at it. Nowadays, there's a lot of focus on inclusion and diversity, right? So because we can see that companies that are innovating and becoming leaders are very clearly have a direct correlation with inclusive and diverse, how they embrace inclusivity and diversity. So please do focus on that, right? It'll really help you along in your life if it comes very natural to you. Sometimes, because of bias, or we call as unconscious bias, you tend to take decisions which are wrong. And hence, that's why I say that ensure that you make it a habit and part of your life, and not, embracing inclusiveness and diversity. So these are the three big areas. So digitalization, sustainability, and from a behavior standpoint, focus on inclusive diversity, because integrity and safety is part of your life. That's professional.
That's really great, sir. Good closing with the sum up. You have reduced my job actually. And that very, very important is your behavior, sustainability, digitalization, more than above, inclusivity and diversity, which matters a lot today. Everyone is talking about. And we have to spend, that means putting ourselves in others' place and looking at it, what can be done. In simple terms, you guys don't think this inclusivity is a big term or what generally can be accepted. Team building is something we talk about. Growth of that entire organization, the very first SAR has addressed that. Entire organization, the interest towards the organization is more important than personal interest. That's something we have to think about. And so many things which I have taken note of it. I'll implement it in the day-to-day activities in our classroom, sir, in our day-to-day operations here. Thank you so much for enlightening us with all your wisdom words, where you have got through for last 3 decades in your career, which is done in 1 hour time. What a wonderful session today. Thank you so much, sir. Our chairman was trying to join, but he couldn't join due to some network issues. And he has conveyed his regards through text message. And thank you so much, sir. He'll be in touch with you later. And our gratitude to you, sir. So much. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great evening. And yeah, thanks.
All the best. All the best to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.